Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome back to the final week of 8-Bit RPG Month, which will be Crystalis. That's the only way that will be referred to this whole episode. So deal with it. Woo!
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucious T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life. This is Retroactive.
So Crystalis had a lot of hype to live up to when I put it in, and I am happy to say that it lived up to it. So we're really not going to bring up the whole pronunciation debate, huh? Wow. Usually you're really good at picking low-hanging fruit. Well, if you disagree, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because let's face it, this guy mispronounces everything. Of all the RPGs I've done this month, it's probably the best. It's an action-adventure game, similar to Willow in that regard. You do level up, you do get armor, you have 4 different swords you can get throughout the game, each one with a different elemental affinity, and then the enemies can either be damaged by that sword or not. And then to power up the sword, you can stand still and charge it once, twice. If you charge it twice, that allows you to knock over barriers, depending on which item you're using. So the ice one will allow you to make bridges over water. For the fire blocks, ice blocks. The wind blocks out regular blocks. And then the thunder one takes out these giant head things, which there's not too many of those. I mean, you get the thunder sword pretty late in the game. But yeah, all 4 of those swords, once you get to the final boss, get formed into Crystalis, which is the name of the sword. And the final boss, I gotta say, is kind of a pushover. I mean, at least compared to the other ones, I destroyed it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So you start off, there's hints of technology in this world, but it's really more of a medieval setting. You walk out of this spaceship-like thing into a town, and immediately they're saying, like, oh, something's going on, the town of Leaf, you gotta, here's a sword, go handle stuff. And it's pretty well paced, I gotta say. It's pretty well paced. I was able to get through probably 70 to 65% of the game before I had to look something up, because it gets obtuse towards the end, you know, mainly with the... Once I got past the calmed sea, and I got to the area where you have to start finding Kenshu, and you have to find his love pendant and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if I missed that, but I didn't really... I guess I kind of somehow just missed what they were talking about. I don't know. So they're like, oh, you gotta talk to this guy. You have to go find this on the raft. And that was one of the harder things, too, is there's a few items for quests that are just on the overworld that you can't see. You just have to walk over the right tile. What's funny about this game is there are similar levels of, like, grinding opportunity, kind of similar to Dragon Warrior, but because it's an action-adventure game, it's a game where you're actually getting to hit something. I found it a lot more enjoyable. I mean, there's times where I would be grinding the same mobs for 30-40 minutes, because what happens is you're on these overworlds that you can go up and down and the mobs will respawn. Like, especially where I got the last probably 4 levels on the ocean, because you can ride a dolphin, by the way. Dolphin riding's in this game, and it's awesome. And I was killing these kraken beasts, and it just got to the point where I was like, hit, down, hit, down, hit, down, reset, and just going over and over again. You have a heal spell, and most of the other magic isn't really useful for offensive abilities. You have a telepathy thing where you can get hints, although the hints, even sometimes the guys are like, hey, you shouldn't be relying on people. Play the game. So they're not that useful. Another one told me, like, hey, you probably missed something over by the town of Portia, and that was the herb needed to get into the Amazon city and then get the moon bow. And one of the interesting things is I was reading a lot of walkthroughs as I was getting at the end, and none of them mentioned getting the leather boots before you went and did a bunch of the stuff in the towers, like some mountains. So basically, the game takes place, there's the overworld, there's dungeons. The dungeons are really more cave systems, and then there's mountains that are attached to cave systems. Those are the 3 biomes you see the most. I mean, then you have the ocean section and the desert, but those are kind of less frequent. And also, this game was made by SNK, which made Baseball Stars, and one of my favorite sound effects in Baseball Stars, like NES sound effect, best way I can say. And it does the same thing when you pick up money in this game. And it's great. Now, There is kind of a checkpoint system in the game, so if you die, it doesn't send you super far back, and you can save anywhere, which is cool. So if you're on the overworld, you can save anywhere in the overworld or in towns. Some of the other spells you get a paralyze, which really is more useful for NPCs when you need to get into certain ways. There's a one that lets you change into different people, so you can change into a guard, or you can change into some of the other wise men to get in places. That's pretty cool. But really, it's just the combat's enjoyable. The boss fights can get intense. Like, you have a heal spell, and the way it works is it doesn't heal you for a lot, and you can hold it down and it will continually heal you. And you can buy items to restore your health, restore your magic, and the like. You have another one. These warp boots are great because they can allow you to warp back to town. So especially when you're going to grind, like some of the bigger grinding I did was the waterfall area with the things that turn you into stone. I got a couple levels there, and then like I said, on the ocean. But then you can get there and it's like, oh god, I'm just getting to that danger spot, I'm running out of health, I have no more magic, okay, let's warp back to town, let's heal up, and let's go back. As far as the armor goes, once you get strong enough, some of the enemies will start hitting you and they'll make a clinking sound, so it's kind of like when you hit enemies with the wrong sword and it doesn't damage them, they won't damage you too. But you can get poisoned, you can get paralyzed, which doesn't allow you to charge. The poison just constantly drains your health. That one gets really annoying. So unless you have an antidote, or unless you use the magic spell Recover to get rid of it, it's always going to constantly be there. Some of the other spell you get is Barrier, which allows you to go through those things that are constantly hitting you. But yeah, the leather boots are super useful because, now that's the other thing, they don't tell you what they do, but the leather boots allow you to walk on dangerous surfaces, so like the poisons or the spikes, and then the rabbit boots allow you to jump. So that was another thing I got stuck on. I was like, how to help? Because there's only 2 buttons. So if you have a magic spell equipped and you have the rabbit boots equipped, it's going to default to the magic spell and not the jump button. So I'm in the first mountain section, and I'm like, I know I have to go up this ice slide. I just don't know how. So once finally I'm like, oh, I took the magic thing up and I made a jump. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then you can jump up the thing. And at the very end of the game, you get a flight spell, and the flight spell is what allows you to get the bow for the sun. Now, another thing I did is when I got to the last pyramid, I noticed that there was an area in the back that wasn't the pyramid. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll go in this way. And I made it all the way to the evil emperor on the back entrance and was fighting him forever. Couldn't beat him. Now, this is before I got the power ring. So I looked at him, I was like, oh yeah, you need a power ring to kill him. I'm like, okay. Like, all the walkthroughs on GameFAQs for Crystalis are terrible. I knew there was 2 Dragon Lords at this point because I've been reading into it. Well, the first one is in the front entrance of the temple. And you can only kill the second guy once you get the Bow of Truth to reveal his true form. Because that's what it is. Everything has a true form. And so that was getting frustrating. But man, the game is just fun. Music's kind of forgettable, not that great, and the way the item system works is pretty, like, I got lucky a few times. I got lucky with the glasses where I found the hidden entrance. You find a sleeping guy, like, oh, there's an alarm that can wake him up. Later on, you find another sleeping guy, like, oh, I know this is gonna be the alarm. You find an area where there's like, what the hell is this? And like, oh, you need to put a golden statue here. I'm like, oh, I found the statue. You know, like, oh, you need the fog lamp. All right, I found the fog lamp. Okay, great. I gave it back to him. Oh, there goes that. Oh, I can take the boat now. And then you get the whistle to call the dolphin. Like, it's all very much, it's intuitive. It guides you through the game very smartly for about the first 60%. And then after that, it gets a little bit more in-depth. But then at that point, I was kind of, you know, you get to that tunnel vision, especially when you're reviewing games, where it's like, all right, I've had a good few days playing this, but now we need to wrap it up. I can tell it's getting to the end. So that's why I got all the way to level 16, which is the max level. Thank you for that. And we got there, and it's after you beat the Dragon Lord, you go up into the tower, and you kind of, like, the story's kind of cool. All that, but yeah, as far as the game goes, highly recommend it. Everything you've heard about Crystalis is true. It can get a little bit of a drag at times, but oh, and when you level up, you get magic and you get health, but you don't get full magic and health. But still, that's better than Dragon Warrior. So yeah, if I was gonna give it a rating, I give it an 8.5, 8.5. That's a solid rating. It's a good game, very good game. Anyways, pick it up and play it. That's your homework.